Earl's kitchen is warm, with the smell of turkey bacon and cinnamon toast. Earl sits at the table with a bowl of vegan oatmeal and fruit, staring longingly at Henry's plate. Henry's in his Police Academy sweatshirt. Blake pours herbal tea and joins them.
Henry, I'm begging you, stop cooking that turkey bacon in front of me. My mouth is watering. Blake got me on this 30-day vegan diet and I'm suffering.
Well, I'll tell you this. I've never seen you look healthier. You've lost weight, your skin looks good, and I know you gotta feel better. I tried that 30-day vegan thing once. Made a huge difference.
I feel hungry. That's what I feel.
You're experiencing metabolic recalibration.
English, Blake, English.
You're adjusting, you'll feel better soon.
Henry, I gotta ask you something arresting your own kid. Man, that takes guts. I'm the oldest brother, but I couldn't do it, no way.
When I swore in, I made a commitment to uphold the law that comes before everything. Even my own emotions, I love my son, but accountability matters. And if I want him to grow into a man who respects the law, I have to model that.
Well, they picked the right one to be a police officer, that's for sure. 'Cause I would have been like, boy, get in this house before somebody sees you.
I'm proud of you too. Henry, that couldn't have been easy. And since Caleb was approved to spend the holidays here on probation, I want him to join my new support circle while he's in town. I think it could help him.
What kind of circle is it?
It's a psychoeducational, trauma-informed behavioral restructuring group designed to help individuals deconstruct maladaptive identity patterns and rebuild self-regulatory frameworks.
Well, now that's fascinating. And a rare type of group.
Blake, English, I ain't never been to medical school.
Sorry about that. It's a group that helps people understand why they do what they do and how to change it.
Now, was that so hard?
So what kind of people go to a group like that?
People who want to change their reputation. People who are tired of being defined by their worst moment. People who struggle with jealousy, impulsive decisions, identity issues, or old patterns they don't understand. People who want to rebuild their lives.
Oh, so it's like a bad boy rehab.
Earl, that is not what it's called.
Well, that's what it sounds like.
This circle sounds like exactly what my son Caleb needs. Is this one of your open sessions? The kind where family can come for support. I want to respect everyone's privacy.
Yes, this particular circle is open to family and friend support. And I always encourage family to join so they can understand what their loved ones are working through. It helps break the stigmas.
What time is your bad boy circle open for family and friends?
Earl, it is not a bad boys circle. And family and friends can come between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. We take a lunch break, and we provide a healthy lunch box for all participants. Well, it's time for me to head out. See you two there.
I don't know if I ever told you this, but I want to thank you for the sacrifices you made to help Mama and Daddy turn our farm into an empire. You helped me and Blake go to school. I love you, big brother.
Doggone allergies.
Moved by Henry's words, Earl wipes his eyes but makes it seem as if it is allergies that's causing his tears. Henry smiles knowingly. The scene shifted to the professional building, where Dr. Blake held his classes. The hallways were already alive with movement. Parents, clients, staff, and the quiet hum of a place that handled real stories and real struggles every day. Security guards stood near the elevators, greeting people with polite nods. They weren't intimidating, just present. Present enough to remind certain clients that accountability was part of the process. Felony was one of those clients. He stood at the water fountain, taking a slow drink, then moved to the vending machine to buy a soda and a candy bar. The guards didn't hover, but they watched. Not because he was trouble, but because protocol required them to know where he was at all times. Felony understood that he moved calmly, predictably, respectfully. Signs in. At the reception desk, TRO arrived with his usual confidence. He flashed the receptionist a warm smile, not inappropriate, just charming enough to make her laugh under her breath. He signed in using his legal name, the one no one in the classroom knew yet. He wrote it neatly on the clipboard, checked the box for Dr. Blake's session, and slid the pen back with a playful wink that made the receptionist shake her head and smile. Henry and Caleb before class. Down the hall, Henry and Caleb stood together, sharing a brief father-son moment. Nothing dramatic, just a few words exchanged, a hand on the shoulder, a nod of encouragement. No one in the hallway knew Henry was Caleb's father. No one knew Henry was a police officer. He looked like any other parent, broad-shouldered, upright posture, calm presence. After a final squeeze of Caleb's shoulder, Henry walked toward the classroom. Henry enters the classroom. Henry entered first and chose a seat in the back. Not to hide, but to give Caleb space. He wanted his son to have his own experience without feeling watched. He sat quietly, hands folded, observing the room with the calm neutrality of someone who had spent years reading people without announcing it. Felony signs in. Felony approached next. He didn't flirt. He didn't joke. He simply handed over his ID, signed his legal name, and nodded politely. The receptionist greeted him with a kind of familiarity that comes from routine. He returned the greeting with a quiet morning, then headed toward the classroom. TRO enters the classroom. TRO stepped fully into the classroom, his backpack already placed near the exit door. The spot he chose every week out of habit, comfort and instinct. Sitting near the door helped him breathe. It gave him options. It gave him a sense of control in rooms where emotions ran deep and stories ran heavy. Growing up, he'd learned that the quickest way to stay out of trouble was to stay mobile, to stay aware, to stay near an exit. As he straightened up, he scanned the room the way he always did. Quick, quiet, observant. His eyes briefly met Henry's. TRO didn't know who Henry was, but he noticed him. Noticed the posture. Noticed the build. Noticed the calm, professional stillness that some men carry without trying. It wasn't suspicion, just awareness, a survival skill from childhood that never fully left him. But the moment passed as quickly as it came, because the second TRO spotted Felony sitting in the middle row, everything about him changed. His shoulders loosened, his face brightened, the seriousness melted right off him. He grinned wide, his whole personality lighting up. "Man, did you see the game last night?" All the tension TRO carried at the door evaporated. He walked straight over to Felony the way you do when you see someone who makes the room feel familiar. Instead of leaning on the desk across from him, he pulled out the chair right next to Felony and dropped into it with the ease of someone who felt safe in that moment. The two men immediately launched into animated conversation. Stats, plays, bad calls, the whole thing. Their voices low, but their energy unmistakably warm. For a moment, the classroom felt like a barbershop, a living room, a place where men could just be men without the weight of their circumstances pressing down on them. Why Felony's face lit up when he saw TRO. As TRO dropped into the seat beside him, Felony's whole expression shifted, his shoulders relaxed, his jaw unclenched. A small genuine smile tugged at the corner of his mouth, the kind he didn't give out often. For Felony, moments like this were rare. He had cut off every single person from his past, not out of anger, but out of survival. Every friend he once had was a felon. Every connection from the old life was a risk. Every familiar face came with the possibility of violating the association rule. So Felony had done the hard thing, the lonely thing, and walked away from all of them. He didn't hang out. He didn't socialize. He didn't kick it with anyone. He stayed clean, stayed focused, stayed alone, which meant he didn't have many friends. Not real ones, not safe ones. That's why seeing TRO always hit different. TRO wasn't on parole. He wasn't on probation. He wasn't a felon. He was just a good man. A solid man. A man Felony could talk to without fear of breaking a rule or slipping into old patterns. In a world where Felony had to be careful about every relationship he kept, TRO was one of the few people he could let his guard down around. So when TRO walked in with that big grin and said, "Man, did you see the game last night?" Felony's whole spirit lifted. For a moment, he wasn't the guy being monitored. He wasn't the guy trying to outrun his past. He wasn't the guy afraid of slipping. He was just a man talking football with someone he trusted. And that small, simple moment of brotherhood, that rare feeling of connection, was enough to make Felony forget the man sitting quietly in the back of the room.
TRO's restraining order confession. As the laughter about the football game faded, TRO's expression shifted. He leaned in slightly toward Felony. Not dramatically, just enough to signal that what he was about to say wasn't barbershop talk anymore. TRO told Felony that his ex-girlfriend had called him the night before. She said she wanted to work things out. She said she missed him. She said she was ready to talk. He told her, what about the restraining order? And she told him, don't worry about it. TRO admitted that hearing her voice again made his heart jump. He missed her. He missed the connection. He missed the feeling of being wanted by someone who knew him. He asked her again, "You sure you're not gonna have me arrested?" And she reassured him, "Of course not." So he went over. They talked. They made up. They spent the night together. And he left early the next morning, not because he wanted to, but because a part of him was scared that a neighbor might call the police, or that someone might misunderstand what they saw. Even though she told him she planned to drop the restraining order, the fear didn't leave him. TRO knew the law. He knew that even if she invited him over, even if she wanted him there, even if they both agreed to reconcile, he had still technically violated the restraining order, and legally, that violation could lead to immediate arrest, jail time, fines, a permanent mark on his record. He told Felony that in the back of his mind he couldn't shake the worry. What if her sister talks her out of dropping it? What if her mom, who hates me, convinces her to change her mind? What if she gets scared or confused or pressured? What if she doesn't drop it at all because the truth was simple and terrifying? He had violated the order, and the law didn't care who invited who. TRO said he needed to tell Dr. Blake. He needed to tell somebody, not to get sympathy, but to protect himself, to get clarity, to make sure he didn't walk into a legal trap he didn't see coming. Felony listened, nodding slowly, understanding the weight of it.
Felony's response. TRO finished speaking, his voice low, his eyes fixed on the floor for a moment, as the weight of his own words settled between them. It wasn't shame, it was fear. The kind of fear that comes from knowing you may have walked straight into a legal trap without meaning to. Felony listened closely, nodding with the slow understanding of someone who had seen this kind of thing play out before. And then he leaned in just a little, his tone shifting from friend to brother. Felony told TRO that what he described wasn't uncommon. He said he'd seen it happen before to someone he knew well. Someone who thought reconciliation meant safety. Someone who believed an invitation erased a court order. Felony warned him gently. Even when the heart says, "Come over," the law still says, "Stay away." He told TRO that he needed to be careful, not because his ex was malicious, but because emotions change, families interfere, and misunderstandings can turn into handcuffs faster than anyone expects. And then, almost as if the honesty opened a door inside him, Felony shifted into his own confession. He told TRO that he too had been caught in a weak moment, not with a relationship but with loyalty, not with love but with old ties, not with a restraining order but with the rules of parole. And that's when Felony began to share the story. Felony's confession. Felony leaned in slightly, lowering his voice. He told TRO he had something weighing on him, something he felt he needed to tell Dr. Blake. He explained how a man from his past, another felon, had shown up at his apartment with jewelry, cameras, a TV, laptops, all stolen, all trouble. And Felony's first instinct was the right one. He told the man, "No, man, I can't do that. You know I'm on parole, my PO could come here anytime, I can't risk it." But the man pushed back. His old friend reminded him of the past, of favors, of cover stories, of alibis, of moments when Felony had been the one to help him out.
He said, "Come on, man, it's just for a couple days. I promise I'll be back, don't worry." And Felony, caught between fear and loyalty, said again, "Man, I'm on my second strike, I can't do this." But the friend kept pressing, kept promising, kept leaning on the history they shared, and that's when Felony caved, not because he wanted to, not because he planned to use or sell anything, but because old loyalty can be a trap people outside the system don't always understand. Felony told TRO that after he caved to his friend's pressure, after he agreed to hold the stolen merchandise just for a couple days, everything spiraled faster than he expected. Next day, I hear through the grapevine he got arrested for something else. Now I'm sitting in my apartment with all this stolen stuff I didn't even want, I wasn't using, I wasn't selling. I wasn't doing anything illegal except holding it, and I knew that alone could send me back. TRO nodded slowly, understanding the weight. Felony continued to say how all of a sudden he got a knock at the door. A hard, deliberate knock. Felony froze. He tiptoed to the door, removed the tissue paper he kept stuffed in the keyhole for privacy, and looked out to his shock. It was his PO, standing there wearing a baseball cap and street clothes, and those signature boots, unannounced, as they often do. Felony's heart dropped into his stomach. He quickly stuffed the tissue paper back into the keyhole and tiptoed away from the door as quietly as he could, terrified that even the sound of his footsteps might give something away. Then the panic hit, real panic. He began grabbing the stolen items, the jewelry, the cameras, the TV, the laptops, and shoving them anywhere they would fit. Under the bed, under the mattress, behind drawers, into cabinets, into cracks and crevices he didn't even know existed. His hands were shaking so badly he dropped something, a loud clatter that echoed through the apartment. He swore his PO must have heard it. He prayed he didn't. Another knock came, harder this time. Felony's mind raced. He didn't know if his PO had the authority to have the landlord open the door. He didn't know how long he had. He didn't know if he was already caught. And then another fear hit him. His house was messy, not filthy, just messy. But he knew what that could mean. A messy house could be interpreted as slipping. Slipping could be interpreted as spiraling. Spiraling could be interpreted as relapse. So he scrambled again, this time to clean. Chip bags into the trash, cups into the sink, clothes into the hamper, counters wiped down with whatever he could grab. He did the best he could in the few seconds he had. A third knock came, firm, impatient, authoritative. Felony took a breath, a shaky, terrified breath, and opened the door. He was sweating, breathing hard, trying to look normal. He blurted out the first excuse that came to mind. "Sorry, I just got out the shower." It wasn't true, but it was instinct, the instinct to cover his tracks, to protect himself, to survive. The narrator continues. His PO stepped inside, looked around, asked questions, nothing aggressive, nothing accusatory, just calm, professional observation. The kind that made Felony even more nervous. After a few minutes, the PO left.
Felony waited until nightfall. Then he put on gloves, wiped every fingerprint off every item, and began bagging the stolen merchandise. He didn't put it all in one bag. That would look suspicious. He spread it out over 2 days, taking out small amounts of trash at a time, dropping them into the dumpster when no one was around. He didn't see any cameras in his building,
But he didn't know about the buildings nearby. He didn't know what angles they had. He didn't know what they could see. He panicked the entire time. He told Tiaro he promised himself he would never let something like that happen again. He said he was desperate to get out of that neighborhood, away from the old faces, the old temptations, the old networks that kept pulling him back into danger. He admitted he didn't know whether his PO suspected anything. He didn't know whether security footage existed. He didn't know if this other felon's PO was watching him and saw him come to my apartment. Felony worried about breaking the rule of not only holding stolen merchandise, but also associating with other felons. He didn't know whether he'd already been silently flagged. He knew how intelligent parole officers are and how inconspicuous they can act when they know we are lying. Felony went on to explain that the apartment building he lived in was one of the few places that would rent to someone with his record. That meant temptation lived in the hallways, old faces, old habits, old networks. He had tried to move, tried to start fresh. But every application came back the same. Denied. He told Tiaro that this wasn't just about stolen merchandise. It was about the fear of being seen with the wrong person, at the wrong time in the wrong building, and being flagged before he even knew he was in danger. Felony shared all of this with Tiaro. He just knew he needed to tell someone, and he said he needed to tell Dr. Blake. Not to confess a crime, but to confess a fear, to get ahead of it, to protect himself, to break the cycle before it broke him. Both men felt lighter after speaking, not safe, but lighter. They agreed they would talk to Dr. Blake after class privately. They didn't want to confess in front of parents. They didn't want to look weak. They didn't want to reinforce the stigma that once a bad boy, always a bad boy. They fist bumped quietly, a promise between two men trying to do the right thing. Then they went to their seats. Felony in the middle, Tiaro near the door, feeling like they had a plan.
Henry's internal thoughts, as Felony and Tiaro settled into their seats. Felony in the middle, Tiaro near the door. The room shifted back into quiet, the kind of quiet that comes right before a session begins, when everyone is trying to look calm even though their minds are full. From the back row, Henry watched them, not with suspicion, not with judgment, but with allayed, complicated empathy that only a man with his history could feel. Henry had heard every word, not because he meant to listen, but because life had trained him to hear the things people don't say out loud, and inside himself, something stirred. As a father, he felt a tug in his chest, the same tug he felt when Caleb struggled, when Caleb doubted himself, when Caleb carried the weight of being the good kid, the preacher's kid, the officer's son. He knew what pressure looked like. He knew what fear sounded like. He knew what it meant to want your child to be strong without breaking them. As a former parole officer, he felt something else, something almost bittersweet, inside his mind, Henry thought. Man, I wish all of my former clients had this kind of integrity. Not the perfection, not the mistakes, the integrity, the willingness to say, I slipped, I panicked, I'm scared, I need help before this gets worse. The narrator continues. Henry had spent years watching men fall into traps they didn't see coming. Loyalty traps, love traps, environment traps, poverty traps, temptation traps.
He'd seen good men lose everything because they didn't have a safe place to speak their truth, because they didn't have a Dr. Blake, because they didn't have a room where honesty wasn't punished. So hearing Felony and TRO speak with that level of raw, unfiltered honesty, it hit him in a place deeper than his badge. It hit him in the place where men who've seen too much ache for the world to be kinder. Henry thought, now I understand why so many of them ended up back inside, not because they were bad men, but because they were alone. And then as a police officer, even off duty, he felt something else entirely. Respect. Not the kind you give out of politeness, the kind you feel when you witness courage, because it takes courage to admit fear. It takes courage to confess a weak moment. It takes courage to say, I need help, before the world forces you to. Henry sat back in his chair, folded his hands, and let the weight of what he'd heard settle in his chest. He wasn't thinking like a cop. He wasn't thinking like a former PO. He wasn't even thinking like Caleb's father. He was thinking like a man who had just watched two others fight, really fight, to stay on the right path. And in that moment, Henry silently hoped that Caleb, sitting just a few rows away, would grow into the kind of man who could be honest like that, strong like that, self-aware like that. He hoped his son would learn that real strength isn't pretending you're fine. It's admitting when you're not.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Blake, and welcome to the Reputation Recovery Circle. Before we begin, let's go around the room. Share your name, or the name you prefer to go by. And if you feel comfortable, you can tell us whether you're here voluntarily or mandated, and what brought you here today.
Yeah, I'll go first. Most folks call me Felony, long story short. I caught a charge years back, and the name just kind of stuck. I'm here because I'm on parole, and my PO signed me up for this class. Didn't exactly have a choice, but I'm trying to do right, so here I am.
I go by TRO. That stands for Temporary Restraining Order. I earned that name the hard way. I had some jealousy issues in past relationships, made some bad choices, and ended up with a few TROs in my record. I've done anger management, counseling, all that. Someone recommended this class and I figured it couldn't hurt. I'm not mandated. I'm here because I want to change. I want a family someday. I want to be better than I've been.
I go by Swipe. My counselor gave me two choices. Come here or go back to detention. So yeah, I'm actually mandated to be here. But I also want to be here. I'm tired of the old life. I want my daughter back. I want to stop doing the things that got me in trouble in the first place. I'm ready to change.
I'm called Caleb. I'm not mandated to be here. But when your uncle is Dr. Blake, you don't exactly get to say no. And my father, he's sitting in the back. He encouraged me to come to. He loves me and he wants me to do better. I want to show him I'm trying.
As Caleb speaks, something shifts in the room, something soft, something human. His words come out halting, careful, pushing past a stutter he's clearly spent years trying to hide. And for the first time, everyone hears it. Henry doesn't move. He's known this sound since Caleb was small. The pauses, the catches, the breaths. But hearing his son speak this openly, this bravely, in front of strangers, that's new. That's what hits him. Blake sits forward just a little, not surprised, more like confirmed. He's always sensed something beneath Caleb's short answers, the way he'd rush through sentences or avoid them altogether. Blake never pushed. He waited. And now the truth is here, unfolding in real time.
But Earl is the one who feels it the hardest. He's never heard Caleb talk like this. Not once. At home, Caleb keeps everything short. One-word answers, quick replies, safe phrases that don't give the stutter a chance to show. Hash browns. Fine. Yeah. Earl always thought the kid was just quiet, reserved, maybe a little shy. But now, listening to him fight through every sentence, Earl finally understands. It hits him like a light turning on in a dark room. Oh, that's why. And suddenly, every memory makes sense. Every clipped answer, every avoided conversation, every time Caleb shrugged instead of speaking. Earl isn't judging him. He's not embarrassed for him. He's proud. Proud that the kid is standing here, pushing through something he's spent years trying to hide. Felony hears it too. And for a man who's built his whole life on toughness, something in him softens. Not pity. Respect. Because he knows what it feels like to carry something heavy and pretend it's not there. TRO stops fidgeting with the door. For once, he's not thinking about leaving. He's thinking about how hard it must be to talk like that in front of people. Swipe's eyes widen, not in shock, but in recognition. The kind a mother has when she sees someone fighting a battle they didn't ask for. She doesn't know Caleb well, but in this moment, she feels protective of him. She knows what it's like to love someone who struggles to communicate. She knows what it's like to be misunderstood. No one laughs, no one smirks, no one shifts uncomfortably, they just listen. Because in this room, this circle, pain isn't something to mock. It's something to honor.
Thank you, all of you. Introductions aren't easy, especially when they involve parts of your story you've had to carry alone for a long time. I appreciate the honesty, the courage, and the trust you've shown in this room. I want to remind everyone of something important. What you share here stays here. This is a confidential therapeutic space. Nothing you say will be used against you. Nothing you say will end up in a report or on your record. The only time I'm required to break confidentiality is if there is an immediate safety concern, meaning someone is in danger. Outside of that, your words belong to you. You are free to share as much or as little as you feel comfortable sharing. There is no judgment here, no ranking of whose story is worse or more serious. Pain is pain, healing is healing, and every voice in this room matters. If at any point you have a question, or you need clarification, or you need to step out for air or water, just raise your hand. I'll acknowledge you, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. For those of you who are on parole, you may be escorted by one of our security staff if you need to step out. That's not a punishment. It's not a reflection of who you are. It's simply part of the attendance requirements tied to your hours. Please don't take it personally. You're here because this group is part of shortening your term, not extending it. This is a place to grow, a place to breathe, a place to be human. And I'm honored to walk through this process with you. Now, who is ready to share their story?
I'll go first, Dr. Blake. Excuse me. I'm Felony. I grew up in a house where everything looked perfect, but nothing felt safe. My parents weren't abusive, they were just absent. My mom traveled for work, my dad lived in his office, and I lived in a house full of expensive furniture and empty rooms. People think a big house means a big life, but mine felt small, quite lonely. I was the kid who liked art, the kid who liked music, the kid who liked sitting under trees and drawing superheroes instead of playing football. And kids don't let you forget when you're different. They teased me for my voice, my clothes, my hobbies, the way I walked, the way I breathed. I got shoved into lockers, laughed at in hallways, called names I didn't even understand yet. And I didn't fight back. I didn't know how. I didn't have anyone at home telling me I mattered. I didn't have anyone telling me I was enough. I just had silence and shame and the feeling that something was wrong with me. By 10th grade, I couldn't take it anymore. I reinvented myself. I changed my clothes, my attitude, my friends. I started hanging with people who didn't care about school or rules or consequences. They liked me because I was willing to do anything to not feel small anymore. I started stealing not because I needed anything, but because it made me feel powerful. I started fighting not because I was angry, but because it made me feel untouchable. I built a whole new version of myself, and people finally stopped messing with me. But the truth is, I didn't stop hurting, I just hid it better. The first time I got arrested, I remember the officer looking at me like I was a riddle that didn't make sense. He said, "Kids like you don't end up here." And I wanted to scream, kids like me end up here all the time. You just don't see us. My parents were furious, but not because they were worried about me. They were worried about their reputation. They told me I embarrassed them. They told me I threw away everything they gave me. They never once asked why I did what I did. They never once asked if I was okay. After that, everything spiraled. I lost friends. I lost trust. I lost myself. And when I turned 18, the record followed me everywhere. I tried to get a job. Nobody wanted to hire someone with a theft charge. I'd walk in confident, walk out crushed. I tried to get an apartment. Landlord saw the background check and said no. I tried to date, and the moment someone found out about my past, they disappeared. People say they believe in second chances, but they don't. Not really, they believe in safe chances. Clean chances, chances that don't make them uncomfortable. And I'm still on parole, I'm still rebuilding. I'm still trying to figure out who I am without the mask. I'm still trying to convince people and myself that I'm not the same kid who made those choices. The twist in my story, the part nobody expects, is that the person who helped me turn my life around wasn't a therapist or a judge or a mentor. It was the school janitor, Mr. Lopez. One day he found me sitting in the hallway after school crying so hard I couldn't breathe. He didn't ask what I did, he didn't ask why I was crying. He just sat next to me and said, "You don't have to become what hurt you." Nobody had ever said anything like that to me. Nobody had ever spoken to me like I was a person worth saving. I wish I could say everything changed overnight, but it didn't. I messed up again. I had to start over from scratch. But his words stuck with me. They followed me into every job interview, every rejection, every moment I wanted to give up. And slowly I started choosing differently. Not because I was scared of getting caught, but because I finally believed I deserved better than the version of myself I created to survive. I'm here because I want to keep going, I want to keep growing, I want to be someone I'm not ashamed of. And I want to prove to myself, not anyone else, that I'm more than the worst thing I ever did. You know what nobody tells you? The sentence don't end when you walk out the gate, not for people like me. I'm on parole, which means I'm free, but not really. And let me tell you something else nobody talks about. I can't even get a driver's license yet, not with my parole restrictions, so I walk, or I take the bus. Rain, snow, whatever, I'm out there, Try showing up to a job interview soaked because the bus was late. Try explaining that to a boss who already don't trust you. And housing. I got denied from an apartment I could afford because the landlord said we don't rent to felons. Didn't matter that I'm clean, didn't matter that I'm working, didn't matter that I'm trying. That's the stigma after the sentence. It follows you everywhere, even to the bus stop.
Thank you, Felony. That was honest. And brave. And I want you to hear me when I say this. Nothing you shared today makes you less than. It makes you human. You grew up in a house full of things, but not people. That kind of loneliness doesn't show up on paper. But it shapes a person more than most folks realize. Kids need to feel seen. Kids need to feel valued. And when they don't get that at home, they look for it anywhere they can. You didn't become someone else because you were weak. You became someone else because you were trying to survive. And that version of you, the one who fought, the one who stole, the one who tried to feel powerful, he wasn't a monster. He was a kid trying to protect himself the only way he knew how. And the stigma you're carrying now, you're right, it doesn't end at the gate. People say they believe in second chances, but they don't always know how to offer them. They see the charge, not the person. They see the mistake, not the story behind it. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are not the worst thing you ever did. You are the man who survived it. You are the man who is rebuilding. You are the man who is choosing differently, slowly, intentionally, and with more self-awareness than most people ever develop. And I want to honor Mr. Lopez for a moment. Not because he saved you, but because he saw you. Sometimes one sentence from the right person at the right time can change the direction of a life. And you've been carrying that sentence with you ever since. You're here because you want to grow. You're here because you're tired of the mask. You're here because you're ready to build a version of yourself that isn't based on fear or survival. And I'm honored you trusted us with your story today. You didn't have to, but you did. And that matters. Who would like to share next?
I'm TRO. I grew up in a house where emotions were like landmines. You never knew what would set something off. My dad didn't talk, he exploded. My mom didn't comfort, she disappeared. And I learned early that if I didn't make myself loud, I didn't exist. I remember being 8 years old, sitting on the edge of my bed, listening to my parents argue in the kitchen. I didn't know what they were fighting about, but I knew the pattern. My dad's voice would rise, my mom's would shrink, and I would sit there holding my breath like it was my job to keep the house from falling apart. Nobody ever asked me how I felt. Nobody ever asked me what I needed. I was just there, a kid trying to survive the weather inside his own home. By middle school, I was angry all the time, not because I wanted to be, but because anger was the only emotion that didn't get me punished. If I cried, I got yelled at. If I was scared, I got ignored. But if I got mad, people paid attention. So I leaned into it. I fought kids who looked at me wrong. I argued with teachers. I slammed doors. I broke things. I thought if I was loud enough, someone would finally see me. But all it did was make people afraid of me. High school made it worse. I got into my first real relationship, and I didn't know how to be loved without being terrified. Every time she didn't text back fast enough, I panicked. Every time she talked to another guy, I felt like I was disappearing again. Jealousy wasn't an emotion for me, it was a survival instinct. I wasn't trying to control her, I was trying to keep myself from feeling invisible. But I didn't know that back then, I just knew I felt like I was losing something I never really had. The first time I got arrested, I was 17, I didn't hit anybody, I didn't break anything, I just showed up somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Because I thought she was leaving me, I thought I had to fight for her. But really, I was fighting the ghost of every moment I felt abandoned as a kid.
The officer put me in the back of the car and said, "You're too young to be this angry." And I remember thinking, I'm too young to feel this old. After that, everything changed, not because I wanted it to, but because the world changed around me. I tried to get a job after graduation. Nobody wanted to hire someone with a record. I tried to get an apartment. Landlord saw the background check and shut the door. I tried to date again, but the moment someone found out about my past, they treated me like a threat instead of a person. People don't realize how heavy it is to carry a mistake that follows you everywhere. You can change your behavior, your mindset, your whole life, but your record stays the same. It's like dragging a shadow that never shrinks. The twist in my story, the part nobody expects, is that the person who saved me wasn't a mentor or a counselor or a judge. It was my little sister. She was 12 at the time. She came into my room one night, sat on the floor and said, "I'm scared of you." Not because she thought I'd hurt her, but because she said she didn't recognize me anymore. She said I missed the brother who used to braid my doll's hair, and hearing that I had become someone she didn't feel safe around, that broke something in me. Not in a destructive way, in a wake-up way. I realized I wasn't angry at the world. I was angry at the little boy inside me who never got what he needed. And I realized I didn't want to be the man people feared. I wanted to be the man my sister believed I could be. I'm still rebuilding. I'm still learning how to communicate without blowing up. I'm still learning how to feel without shutting down. I'm still trying to get stable work. I'm still trying to find housing that doesn't treat me like a liability. I'm still trying to date without feeling like I have to hide my past. But I'm here because I want to be better. I want to be someone my sister can be proud of. I want to be someone I can be proud of. And I want to prove to myself that I'm not defined by the worst moment of my life. I'm defined by what I do after it. My stigma ain't loud. It's quiet. It's the way people look at me when they hear I had a restraining order. Even if it was years ago. Even if I've changed. And here's something else. I can't even open a bank account. Not with my history. So I gotta use check cash in places. They take a chunk out of every dollar I earn. I'm trying to rebuild my life, but I'm paying fees just to touch my own money. That's the stigma after the sentence. It hits your wallet before it hits your heart.
TRO, thank you. That was honest, and it was brave. And I want you to know, everything you just described makes perfect sense. Not in a justifying it way, but in a human way. You grew up in a home where emotions weren't safe, where anger was the only language anyone spoke, where silence meant danger, and disappearing meant survival. Kids raised in that kind of environment don't learn how to express feelings. They learn how to avoid explosions. You weren't taught how to be heard. You were taught how to brace yourself. And when a child grows up believing that the only way to exist is to be loud, that child grows into a teenager who fights to be seen, not because he's violent, but because he's terrified of being invisible. And that jealousy you talked about, that panic when someone didn't text back, that wasn't you being controlling. That was you reliving every moment you felt abandoned as a kid. Your body remembered the fear even when your mind didn't. The officer who told you, "You're too young to be this angry," he wasn't wrong. But he didn't understand the full truth. You weren't too young to be angry. You were too young to be carrying that much pain alone. And then the world judged you for the record. Not the story, not the trauma, not the little boy who never got what he needed. Just the paperwork. People don't realize how heavy it is to carry a mistake that follows you everywhere. You're right. The record doesn't shrink, but you have. And the turning point in your story, your sister, that says everything about who you really are, because the moment she said she didn't recognize you, you didn't get defensive. You didn't get angry. You woke up, you chose to change, not for a judge, not for a PO, not for the world, for her, for the version of you she believed in. That's not weakness. That's strength. That's accountability. That's love. You're learning how to communicate without blowing up. You're learning how to feel without shutting down. You're learning how to build a life that isn't controlled by fear or anger. That's real work. hard work, and you're doing it. And you're right. The stigma after the sentence hits your wallet before it hits your heart. The banking restrictions, the fees, the assumptions people make when they hear the words restraining orders. Those things aren't fair. They're barriers you didn't ask for. But I want you to hear this clearly. You are not defined by the worst moment of your life. You are defined by the man who walked into this room today. The man who is rebuilding, the man who is learning, the man who is choosing differently. The man your sister can be proud of. And I'm proud of you for sharing this. You didn't have to, but you did. And that matters.
All right, everyone, let's pause right here. Your nervous system's just took in a lot of information. And before we move forward, I want to help your bodies recalibrate. First, do a quick internal scan. Not a judgment, just data collection. Notice your jaw, your shoulders, your hands. If anything is bracing, give it permission to release. Now inhale through your nose at a pace that feels sustainable, and exhale through your mouth. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. That signals to your body that the threat level is 0. If your mind is still orbiting someone else's story, that's a normal response to resonance. Just gently redirect your attention back to your physical anchor points. Your feet on the floor, your weight in the chair, the temperature of the air on your skin. Take one more breath, in and out. You don't need to solve anything, you don't need to hold anything. Just orient back to the present moment. Now, who would like to share next?
Hello, my name is Swipe. I didn't grow up wanting to be nobody's hacker. I wasn't sitting in my room dreaming about breaking into computers or running credit cards. I was just a girl who learned early that if you don't figure things out fast, life will eat you alive. My mom worked 2 jobs. My dad wasn't around. And I was the oldest, so that meant I was the one who had to make sure the lights stayed on, the kids ate, and the rent didn't bounce. We weren't poor in the poetic way people talk about in movies. We were poor in the way where the lights got cut off and you learned to heat water on the stove because the gas bill didn't get paid. And I was the oldest, so I became the second parent before I even finished being a child. I remember being 9 years old, standing on a chair, cooking ramen for my little brothers because they were crying and hungry and I didn't know what else to do. Nobody ever asked me how I was doing. They just needed me to keep everything together. By the time I was a teenager, I was tired, not regular tired, soul tired. I was tired of being responsible for everybody. Tired of watching my mom break her back and still come up short. Tired of pretending I wasn't scared every time the rent was late. I didn't want to be a criminal, I wanted to be a provider. I wanted to be the one who finally made things easier for my family. But when you grow up in survival mode, you don't always learn the difference between resourcefulness and desperation. I had my first child at 19 and I loved that baby more than I loved myself, but love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't buy diapers. Love doesn't keep the landlord from putting an eviction notice on your door. I was working 2 jobs, barely sleeping, barely eating, barely living. I was good with computers, real good. It started innocent. Fixing neighbors' laptops, helping people reset passwords, showing folks how to get into accounts they locked themselves out of. But when you're broke and scared and tired of watching your family struggle, the line between helping and hustling gets blurry real quick. People started asking me to do things. Small things at first. Can you get into this? Can you unlock that? Can you help me get back into my account? And then it turned into, can you get into their account? Can you run this card? Can you make this number disappear? And I said yes. Not because I was evil. Not because I wanted to hurt anybody, but because I was tired of watching my little brothers eat cereal with water. I was tired of seeing my mom cry over bills. I was tired of feeling powerless. I got good at it.
And when you're good at something in the streets, people start depending on you, they start calling you, they start needing you. And before you know it, you're in deeper than you ever meant to be. I wasn't living no glamorous life. I wasn't buying designer bags or flying nowhere. I was paying rent, I was buying groceries, I was keeping the lights on. Survival don't look like the movies. It looked like exhaustion, it looked like fear. It looked like a girl who's too smart for her own good and too desperate to stop. When I got caught, it wasn't even on some big operation. It was a woman from my neighborhood, somebody who knew my mom, who arrested me. And she didn't talk to me like a criminal. She talked to me like a daughter. She said, "You're too smart for this. You're too valuable for this. You don't have to live like this." And for the first time, I believed her. In prison, I met women who taught me things, not how to commit crimes, but how to survive myself, how to slow down, how to breathe, how to stop running from the parts of me that were hurt when I got out. I volunteered to help the FBI. Not because I was scared, but because I wanted to make sure nobody else got hurt the way I hurt people. I wanted to use what I knew to protect people instead of exploiting them. But the hardest part wasn't prison, it wasn't the FBI. It wasn't even changing my life, it was the stigma. Try getting a job with a record like mine, try finding housing, try explaining to a judge why you deserve to see your kids. I lost custody. Not because I didn't love them, but because the system don't believe women like me can change. I'm in a transitional apartment now. I got a small job, I get supervised visits with my babies, and every day I'm rebuilding myself brick by brick. They think liar. They think I'm still that girl. And because of my record, I had to settle for housing in a neighborhood I don't feel safe in as a woman. That scares me. I hear things at night. I walk with my keys between my fingers. I double lock my door. But that's what happens when landlords say, "We don't rent to people with your background." That's the stigma after the sentence. It puts you in places you don't deserve to be.
Swipe. Thank you. That was one of the most honest, courageous stories I've ever heard in a room like this. You didn't grow up with childhood. You grew up with responsibility. You were 9 years old, standing on a chair cooking ramen for crying babies. You were a child raising children. And the world didn't call it what it was, parentification. They just expected you to keep the house running. You weren't a criminal in the making. You were a little girl trying to keep the lights on, trying to keep your family fed, trying to hold together a life that was falling apart around you. And when you became a mother yourself, you loved your child fiercely. But love doesn't pay rent. Love doesn't stop eviction notices. Love doesn't keep the gas from being shut off. You didn't turn to hacking because you wanted to hurt people. You turned to it because you were smart, because you were capable, because you were desperate, because you were tired of watching your family suffer. And the world punished you for using the only skill you had to survive. And then there's the moment that changed everything. The woman from your neighborhood who arrested you. She didn't see a criminal. She saw a daughter. She saw a girl who had been carrying too much for too long. She saw your worth before you did. That moment didn't save you. It awakened you. And you carried that awakening into prison, into the FBI, into motherhood, into rebuilding your life brick by brick. And I want to honor the women you met inside, not because they taught you crime, but because they taught you how to breathe, how to slow down, how to stop running from the parts of you that were hurting. And then you came home to the hardest part, the stigma, the job rejections, the housing denials, the custody battles, the assumptions people make about women with records. You're right. The system doesn't believe women like you can change. But you did. You changed your direction, your purpose, your identity. And the housing situation you described, that's not just unfair, that's dangerous. Women with records are pushed into neighborhoods they don't deserve to be in. Places where safety is a luxury.
Places where you sleep with keys in your hand and double lock your door because you have no other choice. A mother, a survivor, a woman who used her intelligence to protect her family when the world gave her no other tools. A woman who is rebuilding her life with honesty, intention, and courage. You're not defined by the mistakes you made in desperation. You're defined by the choices you're making now. The slow, steady, painful, beautiful choices of a woman who refuses to give up on herself. Thank you for trusting us with your story. Thank you for letting us see the girl you were, the mother you are, and the woman you're becoming. And thank you for reminding this room that stigma doesn't just follow people, it corners them. And breaking out of that corner takes strength most people will never understand. Caleb, you're our last story for today. Do you feel comfortable sharing?
I grew up in a house where the rules were clear, the expectations were high, and the consequences were immediate. And the day my father arrested me.
Caleb's voice trembled just enough to make the room lean in. My father arrested me. The words didn't just land, they hit the room like a sudden drop in air pressure. Felony's immediate reaction. Felony's eyebrows pulled inward sharply, the way they did when something didn't make sense. His head stayed perfectly still, but his eyes flicked left, then right, fast, instinctive, calculating inside his mind. Arrested? What does he mean, arrested? Is he talking about a citizen's arrest? Is he talking about being grounded? What's this guy talking about? He turned slowly toward the back of the room, and that's when the details started clicking. The broad, disciplined build, the regulation-style haircut, the boots, the exact kind his peer wore, the posture, straight, still, trained. Felony turned back to the front, heart pounding inside himself.
TRO's immediate reaction. TRO had been sitting with his fingers under his chin, listening casually. But when Caleb said, "My father arrested me," TRO's head snapped toward Caleb, inside his mind. Arrested. What does he mean, arrested? Does he mean his father called the cops on him? Does he mean his father turned him over to the police for a crime he committed? What's he talking about? Then, almost by accident, he glanced back at Henry, and he saw it too. The posture, the haircut, the boots, the stillness. TRO turned back around quickly, panic rising in his throat. Inside himself he pleaded, "Please let this man be a bodybuilder. Please let him be a personal trainer, a swimmer, a construction worker. Anything but what I'm thinking. Anything but that."
And through all of this, the tension, the glances, the silent panic, Caleb is still talking, still rambling, still unaware that the room behind him is unraveling in slow motion. And then Caleb finally says it. The word that completes the puzzle, the word that makes Felony's breath hitch and TRO's shoulders lock. "My father is a police officer." Swipe's mouth falls open, wide, stunned, breath trapped in her chest. Felony's eyes snap shut for half a second, like he just got hit with the truth he wasn't ready for. TRO stops breathing altogether. Swipe finally finds her voice, barely a whisper, but unmistakable. "Oh my God." Blake sees every reaction. Every flinch, every breath held too long, but he stays steady, calm, professional, letting Caleb finish before he addresses the storm he knows is coming. Henry sees it too. The panic, the shrinking, the silent, "Oh my God!" But none of it surprises him. He's been a parole officer. He knows exactly what that look means, so he stays still, hands folded, doing everything he can not to add to their fear. And at the front of the room, Caleb keeps talking.
completely unaware that one vulnerable sentence has just detonated behind him.
Felony types.
And in that
Don't
moment,
look back.
the whole room
Don't
understands.
Just act normal. TRO types. Normal left the building 10 minutes ago. Felony and TRO spiral.
And through all of this, the
Felony's
tension, the
legs
glances,
started
the
bouncing
silent panic, Caleb is
uncontrollably
still
under the
talking.
desk. His knee
Blake
jittered
sees
so
every
hard.
reaction,
The desk
every
shook.
flinch, every
Inside
breath
his
held
mind,
too
he
long,
thought
but
to
he stays
himself,
steady, calm,
if he'll
professional,
arrest his
letting
own son,
Caleb finish before he addresses the storm he knows is coming.
This is my second
Henry sees
strike.
it too. The panic,
My
shrinking,
PO is gonna
the
walk in
silent,
here any
oh
minute.
my God!
I said way too
None of
much.
it surprises him. He's
TRO
been a
stared
parole
at the
officer.
exit door.
He knows exactly
He
what that
thought to
move
himself,
means, so he stays still, hands
volunteered
folded,
to
doing
come here.
everything he can not to
I don't
add
have
to
to
their
be here.
fear.
The
I
day
could
my
leave.
father arrested me,
I should leave.
it was humiliating.
His
But it was
breath
also
quickened.
humbling. I guess I took it for
And then,
granted that
the
being a
new
policeman's
detail.
son meant I get a pass. But my dad
TRO's fingers began
wasn't raised us
tapping the
like Daddy
desk.
B, believes in
Fast,
consequences.
frantic,
Real man.
uncontrolled, matching
When your
Felony's
father's a
leg
poop police
bounce
officer,
beat for beat.
the world treats you
Two
like you're
different
supposed to be
bodies,
perfect.
same panic.
Teachers expected me to be the good kid.
The phones
The
come
neighbors
out.
expected me to be the
Felony
respectful
grabbed
kid.
his phone
Other parents
first.
expected me to be the example
Fast,
kid.
shaky,
I remember
desperate.
being little and watching him put on his
TRO
uniform,
saw
the
it and immediately
badge,
pulled
the
out
belt,
his
the
own.
vest. I thought he was a superhero.
Their thumbs
I thought he was
flew.
invincible. I thought he was the strongest man in the world. But when you're the son of a cop, you don't get to be a regular kid. You
We
don't
are
get to
done.
make regular mistakes. You don't get to be loud or confused or emotional. You get told you know better.
This man
Ever.
arrested his own
Even
son.
when you don't.
If he'll do
By
that,
middle school, I
We're cooked.
started feeling the pressure. Not from my dad, from everyone else.
He
Kids
heard
would say, don't cuss
everything
around,
the
his dad's a
restraining
cop.
order.
Or, don't
All
invite him,
of
he'll
it.
snitch. I didn't even do anything. I just existed.
and my stolen
But I felt like I was
merch
walking
story.
around with a spotlight on
I'm
me.
done.
By high school, I was tired
My
of being the
PO is
cop's
gonna
kid. I wanted
show
to
up
be
any
normal. I
minute.
wanted to fit in. I wanted to stop feeling like I
And I
was
just
being
got that
watched all the
new
time.
job.
So when the
They're gonna
wrong
fire
crowd
me
showed
for
me
sure. I don't want to
attention,
have
I
to
took
go
it.
back to
When
hustling
they
to
said,
pay the
come with
rent
us, I went.
again.
When they said, don't be scared, I pretended I
Damn.
wasn't. I didn't want to be the outsider anymore. I didn't want to be the kid who got left out because of who my dad was. The night I got arrested, it wasn't even for something big. It wasn't violent. It wasn't dangerous. It was stupid. It was peer pressure. It was me trying to prove I wasn't the uptight kid everyone assumed I was. The day my father arrested me, I'll never forget it. Remember the lights first, not the sirens, the lights, blue and red bouncing off the houses like the whole street was watching me. I didn't even know it was him at first. I just saw the car door open. And then he stepped out. He didn't yell. He didn't run toward me. He didn't grab me. He just looked at me, this look I'd never seen before, not angry, not disappointed, just tired, like he'd been hoping this moment would never come. I remember my friends running, all of them. They scattered like roaches when the lights hit, and I just stood there, frozen, because I knew that walk, I knew that posture, I knew that voice when he said my name. He didn't say son, he said Caleb, and that hurt worse than anything. He asked me one question, just one. He said, is this who you want to be? And I couldn't answer. I couldn't even look at him. He put the cuffs on me himself, and he didn't do it rough. He didn't shove me. He didn't make a scene. He did it the way he does everything, calm, steady, like he was doing his job. But it was humiliating. Standing there with my hands behind my back, knowing my own father was the one doing it, knowing the neighbors were watching, knowing my brothers would hear about it, knowing I'd broken something in them I didn't know how to fix. And the whole ride to the station, he didn't say a word, not one. He just drove. And I sat there in the back seat, staring at the cage between us, thinking, this is it. This is the moment I stop being his kid and start being his case. But he wasn't doing it to punish me. He was doing it because he wasn't going to raise a son who thought he was above consequences. He was doing it because he loved me, and that was the part that hurt the most. Seeing the look on my dad's face was the worst moment of my life. He didn't yell, he didn't slam anything. He just looked at me like he didn't recognize me, and that hurt him more than any punishment he could have given me. After that, everything spiraled. I got put on probation. I lost friends. I lost trust. I lost the version of myself I thought I was supposed to be. And everywhere I went, people treated me like a contradiction, the cop's kid who messed up. People don't realize how heavy it is to carry a mistake when everyone expected you to be perfect. The twist in my story, the part nobody expects, is that the poor person who helped me turn things around wasn't my dad, it was my mom. She sat me down one night and said, "You're not a disappointment. You're a teenager who made a mistake and you're allowed to grow from it." She told me I didn't have to be perfect, I just had to be honest, and that was the first time I felt like I could breathe. I'm still rebuilding. I'm still trying to earn back trust. I'm still trying to figure out who I am outside of my dad's badge, but I'm here because I want to be better. I want to be someone who makes choices because they're right, not because I'm scared of disappointing someone. I want to be someone who stands on his own 2 feet, and I want to prove to myself that I'm not defined by one mistake. I'm defined by what I do next. My stigma is different. I'm on probation, which means people think I'm fragile or unstable, or a mistake away from falling apart. And here's something I don't talk about much. I can't volunteer at certain places. I can't work with kids. I can't even be in certain buildings without permission. So when people say, "Why don't you get involved?" or "Why don't you give back?" they don't understand. I'm not allowed to. That's the stigma after the sentence. It blocks doors before you even get to knock.
Caleb, I want you to take a breath for a moment, because what you just shared wasn't small. It wasn't simple. It wasn't just a mistake. It was a turning point in your life and in your identity. You grew up in a house where expectations were the air you breathed. Not because anyone said them out loud, but because you could feel them in every room. The badge on the wall, the uniform in the closet, the reputation your family carried. And when you stumbled, the way teenagers do, the world didn't treat you like a kid who made a mistake. It treated you like a contradiction. Like you weren't allowed to be human because of who your father is. That moment, your father arresting you, that wasn't just a consequence. That was a rupture, a break in the story you thought you were living. A moment where love and duty collided in a way no child is prepared for. And I want to name something important. You didn't just lose friends. You didn't just lose trust. You lost a version of yourself, the version that believed you had to be perfect to be worthy. And then your mother, she did something powerful. She gave you permission to be human. She gave you permission to grow. She gave you permission to breathe. That's not small, Caleb. That's healing. That's reparenting. That's someone giving you back the childhood you didn't realize you lost. And your stutter, the way it shows up when you talk about shame, or fear, or expectations, that's not weakness. That's your nervous system telling the truth before your mouth can catch up. You're not fragile. You're not unstable. You're not one mistake away from falling apart. You're a young man who is rebuilding himself under the weight of a spotlight he never asked for. And I want you to hear this clearly. You are not defined by probation. You are not defined by your father's badge. You are not defined by the moment you were handcuffed. You are defined by the work you're doing now. The work of becoming someone who chooses honesty over perfection, growth over guilt, and responsibility over fear. Thank you for trusting us with that. You didn't just tell a story. You told the truth.
Before everything unraveled, before hands shot up, before fear took over the room, Caleb was feeling good. Really good. For the first time in a long time, he felt like he'd gotten something out of his system. Something heavy, something tangled, something he'd been carrying alone. This was the one group where he had the non-judgmental professionalism of his Uncle Blake. The warm, down-to-earth love of his Uncle Earl. In a circle of people who understood what it meant to mess up and still try to rebuild. He felt safe, he felt open. He felt honest in a way he hadn't felt in years. And because he was sitting in the front, facing Blake, facing the board, he couldn't see what was happening behind him. He didn't see Felony's brow tighten. He didn't see TRO's hands clamp the desk. He didn't see Swipe's breath catch in her throat. He didn't even realize he'd slipped. He didn't realize he'd said the words, "My father is a police officer." He was too deep in his story, too vulnerable, too relieved to finally speak without being judged. So when he finished, when he sat down, he thought everything was fine. He thought the room was with him. He thought the moment had landed the way he meant it to. But then he looked to his left and to his right, and something was off. Felony wasn't relaxed anymore. His whole personality had shifted. TRO looked suspicious, guarded, like he was waiting for something to jump out at him. Swipe was staring at Caleb like he detonated a bomb without realizing it. Caleb didn't understand. He didn't know what he'd done. He didn't know why the air felt different. He could see Uncle Blake maintaining professionalism, calm, steady, unreadable. He could see his father in the back, posture unchanged, expression neutral, still observing the room the same way he always did. Nothing looked wrong. But everything felt wrong. Dr. Blake began to start the next exercise when suddenly, Felony raised his hand, sharp, sudden, interrupting Blake mid-sentence. Blake turned to him, giving him the floor. And Felony said the words that cracked the truth open. "I'm gonna plead the fifth, because there's a policeman in the room." And that's when it hit Caleb, hard, fast, cold, but he didn't gasp, he didn't flinch, he didn't panic, because this wasn't new to him. This was familiar, too familiar. That quiet, sinking feeling in his stomach, that slow, heavy drop in his chest, that whisper in the back of his mind saying, "Here we go again." He'd lived this life for years, the life where people's faces change the moment they find out who his father is, the life where trust evaporates in seconds, the life where he becomes the cop's kid, instead of Caleb. So he didn't react big, he didn't react loud, he didn't react at all. He just sat there, grounded, neutral, almost numb, because he'd grown accustomed to this exact moment. The moment people pull away, the moment people assume the worst, the moment people decide he's dangerous or privileged or untrustworthy or a threat, he assumed they hated him now. He assumed they'd never look at him the same. He assumed this was just the way it goes, and that assumption, that quiet resignation, hurt more than anything Felony had said.
Dr. Blake, I'm gonna be completely honest. You told us to be honest, so here it is. I didn't think anything about the man sitting back there. I swear I didn't. I thought he was just Caleb's dad. It's not unusual for family to come to these groups. And he wasn't dressed
like a businessman or anything. No suit, no tie. He just looked like a regular dad. So I didn't feel any reason to be afraid of him. But the second I heard the word policeman, I got triggered hard. I looked at him and my brain went straight to, what if my parole officer sent him? What if he's here to watch me? What if they think I'm slipping? What if they're gonna send me back? I know how parole works. Parole officers talk to the police department. They share everything, they check everything, they don't play. And I'm on parole. I'm on my second strike. I don't get a third chance. So when I heard police officer, I thought it was a trap. I really did. I thought, why would a police officer be in one of these groups? I've never been in one of your sessions where there was a cop. At least, not one who admitted it. My parole officer has shown up to certain groups before, and that's why I never talked much in those. I always kept it surface level. I never said the real stuff. And today I finally felt free enough to talk, to actually say something real. And then suddenly there's a police officer in the room. And my whole body said, shut up. Don't say another word. I panicked, I really panicked. Caleb, I'm sorry, man, I didn't mean to react like that. And Officer Henry, sir, I hope I'm addressing you right. I apologize. I didn't mean any disrespect. I just got scared. I really thought I was about to lose everything.
Dr. Blake, I agree with Felony. What scared me just now was how fast my mind went into protection mode. The second Caleb said his dad was a police officer, my whole body reacted like I was back in survival mode again. My chest tightened, my hands got cold, and my brain started running through every mistake I've ever made, every risk I've ever taken, every moment where one wrong word could have changed my whole life. What scared me was the idea that I could lose everything I've been rebuilding. I've worked so hard to get stable, to stay clean, to stay focused, to stay out of trouble, and the thought that something I say in a therapy circle could somehow get twisted or misunderstood, that terrified me. Not because of Caleb, but because of the world I've lived in. What scared me was remembering how many times I've been judged before I even opened my mouth, how many times people looked at my record and decided who I was, how many times I tried to explain myself and nobody cared about the context, only the label. So when I heard that, my body said, shut down, protect yourself. Don't say too much. And what scared me the most was how quickly I felt small again. I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want fear to be the thing that decides how honest I can be. I want to trust this room. I want to trust this process. I want to trust that I'm not going to get punished for trying to heal. But in that moment, yeah, I was scared. I don't want what I share in this group to be used against me getting custody of my daughter back.
Dr. Blake, I agree with a felony and swipe. I know I already said I can't talk, but I want to explain something. I'm not scared of Caleb's dad because he's a cop. I'm scared because of me. My past. I had an ex years ago and her brother hated me, like, really hated me. I wasn't good to her. I was young, stupid, angry at the world, and I hurt her feelings more times than I can count. I regret it every day. But her brother? He wasn't the forgiving type. He told me straight up he was gonna handle me one day. Said he had people who could make me disappear, said he knew cops who owed him favors. And ever since then, I've been looking over my shoulder everywhere I go, every room I walk into, every time I see a badge or a uniform. My brain goes straight to, somebody's here to get me, even if it don't make sense. So when Caleb said his dad arrested him, and then I looked back and saw that man sitting there, my whole body went into survival mode. Not because of him, because of what I've done, because of the guilt I still carry, because I'm always waiting for the day somebody comes to settle a score.
I know it's irrational. I know it's old trauma. But that's why I reacted the way I did. I wasn't trying to disrespect nobody. I was just scared. I apologized to you, Sergeant. Officer Henry. Sir. Not sure how to address you.
Thank you. All three of you. What you just shared wasn't small. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't overreacting, it was honest. And it came from places inside you that have been shaped by real experiences, real danger, real trauma, and real consequences. Felony, you've lived your life knowing one wrong sentence can change everything. Your fear isn't irrational, it's learned. It's survival. TRO, your body has been trained to scan for threats because of what you lived through. Old trauma doesn't disappear just because the room is safe. Your nervous system reacts before your mind can catch up. That's not weakness. That's conditioning. And swipe. When you're fighting to get your child back, every word feels like a risk. Every sentence feels like it could be misunderstood. Your fear isn't paranoia. It's protection. It's motherhood. I want all of you to hear this clearly. Your reactions make sense. Your fear makes sense. Your instincts make sense. Nothing you said was wrong. Nothing you felt was wrong. You responded exactly the way people respond when their past and their present collide in the same room. And because this is a therapeutic space, not a courtroom, not a probation office, not an interrogation room, we're gonna handle this moment with clarity, honesty, and respect. And with that, I'm gonna give the floor to Henry.
Hello, everyone. I'm Officer Henry. I want everyone to take a breath before I do. Because what I'm about to say is meant to calm you, not scare you. First, felony. Thank you for being honest with me. I respect that more than you know. And I want you to hear this from me directly. I understand why you reacted the way you did. I really do. You weren't being dramatic. You weren't being disrespectful. You were being human. And I want all of you to know something. The reason I came today wasn't to monitor anyone. It wasn't to judge anyone. It wasn't to report anything. It wasn't to sit here as a cop. I came because I'm a dad. My son comes home from these sessions emotional, drained, sometimes quiet, sometimes reflected. And he doesn't always want to talk about it, not because he's hiding anything, but because it's heavy. So I thought, if I sit in the back, quietly, maybe I can understand what he's going through. Maybe I can understand him better. Maybe I can support him better. I sat in the back on purpose. I didn't want to intimidate him. I didn't want to intimidate any of you. I wanted to be present without being in the way. And hearing him share what he shared today, hearing him speak honestly, knowing I wouldn't judge him, that meant something to me. And hearing all of you share, that meant something too. You've given me a perspective most officers never get to hear. You've given me insight into what it feels like on the other side of the badge, and I'm grateful for that. Now, I want to tell you something that might surprise you. Before I became a police officer, I was a parole officer. Don't panic, don't tense up. I'm telling you this because I understand exactly what you're feeling. I know how parole works. I know how strict it is. I know how closely everything is monitored. So when you say you got scared, I get it. I've seen that fear up close. I've seen how heavy that second strike feels. I've seen how one misunderstanding can change someone's whole life. But I want you to hear this clearly. I am not here in that role. I am not here to evaluate you. I am not here to report you. I am not here to watch you. I am here as Caleb's father. That's it. And yes, since you asked realistically, when a police officer is off duty, we still carry our badge, we still carry our weapon, not because we're here to enforce anything, but because emergencies don't schedule themselves. If something dangerous were to happen,
And I mean truly dangerous. You'd have someone in the room who knows how to keep people safe. Think of it like having a security guard in the background, not someone watching you, someone watching over you. I'm here for my son. I'm here to understand him, and while I'm here for all of you too. Not as law enforcement, as a dad, as a human being, as someone who believes people deserve a chance to heal. You're safe. You're not being monitored. You're not being judged. And nothing you say here will ever be used to harm you. Not by me. Not today. Not ever.
Officer Henry, sir. I just want to say something from a woman's point of view, if that's all right. I owe you an apology, I really do. I judged you the second I heard the word police. I didn't even give myself time to think about anything else. My body just reacted. But after hearing you talk, after hearing why you're here, I see it differently now. And honestly, it actually makes me feel safer knowing you're back there. I've been in other sessions where things got heated, real heated, and fights broke out. And the only person who could do anything was the instructor, and he was too busy calling the police. So the fight just kept going until help arrived. We just had to sit there and wait it out. So hearing you say you're here as a dad first, and knowing you have the training to step in if something ever went wrong, that actually gives me some peace. Not the kind of peace where I feel watched, the kind where I feel protected. So, thank you, sir, for explaining yourself, for being honest, and for being here in a way that doesn't feel threatening but actually feels grounding. I look at it from a different perspective now.
Hello again, Officer Henry. Now that I heard everything you said, and after hearing Swipe talk about it, I get it. I really do. And honestly, yeah, it is kind of comforting knowing you're back there. Not watching me seeing if I'm breaking my parole, watching over the room. That's different. That feels different. So thank you, sir. I feel better, I really do. And I can continue now.
Caleb, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to react like that. And Officer Henry, sir, I hope I'm addressing you right. I apologize. I didn't mean any disrespect. I just got scared. I really thought I was about to lose everything.
Officer Henry, I want to say something. I reacted wrong. I judged you before I even gave myself a chance to think. And that wasn't fair to you. Or to Caleb. I've lived a life where danger don't always knock. Sometimes it just shows up. And when I heard the word police, my whole body went into survival mode. Not because of you, because of what I've been through. So now every time I see a badge, every time I see a uniform, my brain don't see a person. It sees danger. It sees payback. It sees the day somebody comes to settle a score. That ain't on you. That's on me. That's old trauma talking. Old guilt. Old mistakes. So, Officer Henry, I'm sorry. I judged you off fear, not truth. And I appreciate you explaining why you're here. I see you different now. I see you as Caleb's dad.
All right, everyone. Thank you for your honesty today. We've covered a lot. We've moved through a lot. And I appreciate the way each of you stayed present, even when things got uncomfortable. We're going to break for lunch in a moment. Before we do, are there any final comments, thoughts, or anything anyone needs to say before we pause? Earl, are there any final thoughts you would like to share?
Thank you, little brother. I ain't been saying much because I've been listening and learning and paying real close attention to every single thing y'all said. I guess the only thing I want to ask is, if y'all changing, how come y'all holding on to them same names that came from the old you? Now look here, man. I know felony sound tough, but if you're trying to move on, why you still calling yourself something that reminds you of being a felon? That don't make no sense to me. I ain't trying to offend nobody. I'm just saying, you can't build a new life with an old label hanging on your back. What's your first name, son?
Richardson.
Richardson. Boy, that's a respectable name. Sound like you do taxes for rich people. Sound like you wear loafers and drink coffee with two hands.
See, that's why I don't use it. It sounds too fancy.
Then go by Rich. Ain't nothing wrong with Rich. Rich sound like a man with a future. Rich sound like somebody who got options.
You know what? I never thought about that. I do like Rich. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
Now you said your name is TRO. What that stand for again?
Temporary restraining order.
Now why in the world would you want folks calling you temporary restraining order? Son, you trying to change your life, but your nickname sound like paperwork. What's your real name?
Latham.
Latham. Now that's a name. Sound like you own a vineyard. Sound like you wear sweaters tied around your neck. Look, y'all doing all this hard work to change your habits, your mindset, your future. Don't forget to change your name too, not who you are, just what you answer to, cause what you answer to shapes how you see yourself. Now Swipe, I gotta ask you the same thing I asked him. Why you still going by a name that's tied to you doing all that stealing back in the day? Ain't you trying to move forward too? I ain't saying it ain't a cool name, but cool don't always mean healthy. If you changing your life, why keep a name that keep reminding you of the old one? What's your first name, sweetheart?
Elizabeth Rose.
Elizabeth Rose. Now that's a beautiful name. You look like an Elizabeth Rose. That name got dignity. That name got softness. That name got a future.
I do like that name. It was my mother's name.
Well, then that's even more reason to use it. Ain't nothing wrong with carrying your mama's name. Matter of fact, that's honor. And if that feel too fancy for every day, you can go by Beth. Beth is simple. Beth is sweet. Beth don't come with no criminal charges attached.
Thank you, Earl. That was exactly what this group needed. All right, everyone. Let's pause here for lunch. Free lunches are available in the cafeteria for anyone who wants to stay on sick. If you're on parole, an officer will escort you to the washrooms in the cafeteria and bring you back here in 1 hour. When we return, we'll move into safety plans and the goals you'll be setting to stay on track.
With Blake's final words, the room begins to shift. Not abruptly, not chaotically, but with a careful, almost reverent calm. Chairs scrape softly. Notebooks close. Bodies stretch after sitting through an emotional storm. Felony is the first to stand. He walks toward the door with that slow, measured stride of someone who's still processing everything. The moment he steps into the hallway, one of the security officers is already there, waiting, professional, ready to escort him to the washrooms or the cafeteria, wherever he chooses to go. Felony nods, respectful, and follows. TRO and Swipe exit next, side by side but quiet, each carrying their own thoughts, their own relief, their own exhaustion. They're met by another officer who guides them down the hall. Inside the room, Caleb gathers his things, slow, thoughtful, still replaying the moment when the group apologized to his father and to him. Before he can stand fully, he feels a hand on his shoulder. He looks up. It's his father. Officer Henry gives him a small smile. Not big, not showy, just that subtle, steady, "I'm proud of you, son" smile that says everything without saying anything. Caleb wants to hug him. He feels it rise in his chest. That warmth, that gratitude, that relief. But hugging your dad in front of a room full of people, that's not the manly thing to do. At least not for Caleb. So he does the next best thing. He gives his father a fist bump. Henry bumps it back. Gentle, proud, solid. Earl and Blake see the whole exchange from across the room. Earl's face softens, moved in that way only Earl can be moved. Don't go blaming allergies again. Blake lets out a quiet laugh. The knowing, warm laugh of a man who's seen healing happen in real time. The four of them walk out together. Not as therapist, father, uncle, and client, but as a small, unexpected circle of men who just witnessed something good.
The morning at Earl's house was warm and familiar. The kind of morning where the sunlight came in soft and the kitchen smelled like comfort. Peggy moved around the kitchen with a gentle rhythm, sliding plates onto the table with the precision of someone who had been feeding this family for years. Henry and Caleb were still in town. Dr. Blake had joined them for breakfast, and Earl, newly freed from his 30-day vegan challenge, was ready to celebrate. Peggy set down a platter of turkey bacon, eggs, grits, toast, a salad, and fresh fruit. Earl's eyes lit up like a child at Christmas. "Oh yeah," he said, reaching for the turkey bacon with both hands. "Come to Papa." He stacked 7 pieces onto his plate. Peggy didn't even blink. She reached over, plucked 5 pieces right back off, and slid them onto Henry's plate. "Earl," she said, playful but firm, "just because you're off your rabbit food diet does not mean you're about to clog your arteries in one sitting." Earl frowned dramatically. "Peggy, I've been eating leaves for a whole month. I deserve this." Peggy slid a bowl of grits in front of him and placed a slice of cantaloupe on the side. "Portions," she said, tapping his plate. "Portions." Earl looked over at Henry's plate, piled high with eggs, turkey bacon, and toast. "How come he gets all that?" Earl demanded. Peggy didn't miss a beat. "Because he works it off. He's out there running every morning, doing push-ups, doing sit-ups. That man has 0% body fat." Henry smirked. Caleb tried not to laugh. Earl pointed at Henry's plate like it was a crime scene. "That ain't fair." Peggy kissed Earl on the cheek. "Life ain't fair, baby. Eat your grits." Dr. Blake set his napkin down, amused. "I'm sorry Amethyst couldn't join us," he said. "She sends her love. She's leading a women's seminar today, something about advocating for organic baby bottles and maternal health. It's an all-day event." Peggy smiled proudly. "That sounds just like her." Henry nodded. "Exactly like her." Caleb grinned into his plate. They finished breakfast with the usual mix of teasing laughter and Peggy's gentle policing of Earl's portions. Afterward, they all grabbed their coats and headed to the center.
The hallway and reception area. The community center was buzzing the way it always did on group session days. Phones rang at the front desk. A copier hummed in the background. A security guard leaned against the wall with practiced alertness, scanning the room with calm, steady eyes. People moved in and out of offices. A few clients waited for appointments. The vending machine clicked and whirred every few minutes. It was busy, but familiar. Lytham, TRO, and Heather arrive. He didn't go by TRO anymore. That name was tied to the chaos he used to live in. He tried using his legal name, Lytham, but that one carried its own kind of weight. The yelling, the fear, the little boy who never felt safe. So now he introduced himself as LT, the L for Lytham, the T for Theodoro. It gave him the strength he wanted to project, especially with his girlfriend beside him.
without dragging the past in behind him. LT walked in with Heather at his side, her first time attending one of his group sessions. Normally, LT flirted with the receptionist just a little when he signed in. Nothing disrespectful, just his usual charm. But today, he straightened up, smoothed his shirt, put on his gentleman face. "Good afternoon," he said, smiling politely as he signed his name. The receptionist looked up, immediately clocking Heather. "Well, hello there," she said warmly. Heather smiled back. "Hi." LT felt 10 feet tall. As they walked away, he slipped his arm around Heather's waist. The receptionist watched them go with a proud smile, happy to see LT supported, grounded, and growing. Caleb and Henry. Near the corner, Caleb and Henry stood in quiet conversation. Henry had that fatherly posture, arms crossed, listening closely. Caleb talked with more confidence than he used to, hands moving as he explained something about his upcoming plans. Henry nodded, offering advice in that calm, steady way he had. After a moment, Henry clapped Caleb on the shoulder and headed toward the classroom. Caleb followed, smiling to himself. Rich, at the vending machine. He didn't go by Felony anymore. That name belonged to the version of him who was always trying to prove something. Tough, reckless, loyal to the wrong people. These days he used his legal name Richardson, especially in places like this. It made him stand a little straighter. It reminded him he didn't owe anybody from his past a favor. And when the security guards called him Richardson, he liked the way it sounded. Like a man who finally belonged to himself outside of formal stuff. He just told people to call him Rich. It fit the way he was growing. Rich stood at the vending machine, staring at the options like he was making a life decision. Soda, candy bars, chips. He shook his head. "Not today," he muttered. He pressed the button for a bottle of water. The machine thunked loudly as it dropped. Rich grabbed it, twisted the cap and took a long drink. As he walked past the security guard, the guard nodded. "Staying hydrated, Richardson?" Rich smirked, trying to do better. The guard nodded back, approving. Rich headed into the classroom. Earl and Peggy came in next mid-conversation. Peggy was fussing with Earl's collar. Earl was pretending he didn't like it, but he didn't move away either. "You look fine," Peggy said.
Dr. Blake stood near the doorway, speaking with 2 other professionals. Something about scheduling, something about follow-ups, something about next month's curriculum. He glanced toward the hallway, watching his group gather. One by one, they drifted into the classroom. LT and Heather, Rich with his water bottle, Beth with her family, Caleb and Henry, Earl and Peggy. The day was beginning. The circle was forming, and the next chapter was about to unfold.
Welcome to our final session of this cycle. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that many of you have been doing important work outside this room. Today, we're going to hear those updates. But first, let's introduce ourselves for those who may not know each other.
Beth goes first. Final group session. The room had just settled. Dr. Blake had finished the introductions. He opened his hands gently. Whoever feels ready may begin. Normally, Rich would stand first, steady, confident, the unofficial alpha of the group. But today, Beth was already halfway out of her chair. Her smile was bright, her eyes gleaming, her mother and sister sitting behind her like a quiet cheering section. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't need it. "Hi everyone," she said, breathless with joy. I can't hold this in." The room leaned in. "I have my daughter back permanently, no more supervised visits, no more check-ins at every corner, no more wondering if I'm doing enough. I've been signing in to every meeting, I've been keeping every appointment, I've been doing everything I'm supposed to do." Her voice wavered, not from sadness, but from pride. "And I moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, a real home, a place where my daughter has her own room, her own bed, her own space." Her mother dabbed her eyes. Her sister squeezed her shoulder. Beth continued, "I promised myself, never again if things get tough. I'm not going back to the old ways. I'm not hustling. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm not trying to survive alone. I'm gonna ask for help." She took a breath, grounding herself the way Miss Jordan taught her. "I've been going to a life skills group. They're teaching me routines, support systems, how to ask for help before I break, and I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it." She placed a hand on her chest. "I am allowed to ask for help." The room softened. Even Rich nodded with respect. Ray smiled. Heather whispered, "Good for her." Peggy beamed like a proud auntie. Dr. Blake's voice was warm, steady. "Beth, thank you for sharing that what you've done is not easy. You faced a setback, you learned from it, and you rebuilt. That's real resilience. And your daughter is lucky to have a mother who chooses growth over pride." Beth sat down, glowing. Her mother kissed her cheek, her sister hugged her arm, and for a moment the whole room felt lifted, not by perfection, but by progress. Dr. Blake responds to Beth. Dr. Blake let Beth finish, giving her the space to breathe through her joy. When she sat down, he leaned forward slightly, hands folded, his tone warm but steady, the way he always spoke when he wanted the whole room to learn from one person's breakthrough. "Beth," he said, "thank you for sharing that with us. What you've done over these past weeks is not small. It's not accidental. It's the result of consistent choices, even after a setback." He glanced around the room, making sure everyone was listening. A lot of people think progress means never slipping. But real progress is what you just demonstrated. You had a setback, you took responsibility, you adjusted your routine, and you kept going. That's resilience, that's maturity, and that's exactly what the system looks for when they decide whether a parent is ready for full custody. Beth's eyes shimmered. Dr. Blake continued, still calm, still clinical, but with warmth under every word. "You didn't get your daughter back because you were perfect. You got her back because you were consistent. You built routines, you used your support system. You asked for help before things spiraled. Those are life skills that protect you and your daughter long term." He nodded toward her mother and sister. "And I want to acknowledge your family as well. Support systems matter. They make the difference between surviving and stabilizing." Then he looked back at Beth. "You've earned this moment, and the work you're doing now, the routines, the accountability, the willingness to reach out, that's what will keep you on this path. I'm proud of you. And I want you to stay proud of yourself." Beth exhaled, her shoulders relaxing.
Her mother squeezing her hand, the room felt it, not a fairy tale ending, but a real one. A hard-won one. A sustainable one.
Rich stood up after Beth, sat down, steady and grounded. He gave her a respectful nod, then looked around the room. "All right," he said. "I'll go next." He took a breath, not nervous, just thoughtful. "So I've been doing good, real good. Mr. Earl and Mrs. Peggy came by my place last week. Brought me furniture, dishes, curtains. The whole 9 yards. Mrs. Peggy had my place looking like a home in 10 minutes. The room chuckled, and Mr. Earl pulled me aside, asked how I was doing. And I told him the truth. Somebody came to my job, an old buddy, trying to get me to hook him up again with some vehicles and cell phones, and I shut it down immediately, no hesitation. I told him, absolutely not. I told LT and Dr. Blake this, but I have never shared it publicly in a classroom. And that is, I used to be a professional car thief. I had the skills to break into vehicles by using devices to bypass the alarms. I'm never going back that way. It's kind of ironic that I'm working at a car dealership. My boss knows about my past. I asked him why he would hire a car thief. He smiled and said, "Son, if anyone knows cars, it's you." He paused, letting that land. Rich wasn't bragging. He wasn't proud of the things he used to do. He shared it because people with felonies don't get many chances, and he wanted the room to understand how rare it was for someone to look past his record. The dealership didn't hire him because they admired his past. They hired him because he understood cars. He could spot a good engine, a bad deal, a faulty alarm. Those skills came from a life he never wanted to return to, but they were skills all the same. And for the first time, they were being used for something honest. Rich continues. But I also want to be real with y'all about something else. The room quieted. I applied for early release from parole. A few people nodded. They knew that was a big step, and it got denied. He said it calmly. No shame, no anger, just truth. And I'm not even mad about it, Rich continued. Because I told the truth. I told my PO everything about the stolen merchandise, about how I threw it away, about how I panicked, about how I hid it before he came to the door. I didn't sugarcoat anything. He shrugged, but it wasn't defeat, it was acceptance. And because I was honest, they said I need more time. And you know what? I'm okay with that. If they think I need more time to stay on the right path, then that's what I need. I'd rather stay on parole a little longer than end up back in prison. He looked around the room, steady and sure. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not cutting corners. I'm doing this the right way, and I'm proud of myself for telling the truth, even when it cost me something. He sat down, and the room felt it. The maturity, the growth, the man he was becoming. Dr. Blake's response. Dr. Blake leaned forward, his voice warm and clinical at the same time. Rich, thank you for sharing that. What you just described is one of the clearest signs of internal change. You didn't hide anything. You didn't manipulate the situation. You didn't try to beat the system. You told the truth even though you knew it might delay your release. He continued, that level of honesty is rare, and its powerful. Early release isn't just about behavior. It's
about trust, and by being honest, you showed your PO that you're committed to long-term change, not shortcuts. Rich nodded slowly. And the fact that you're not angry about the denial tells me something important. You're thinking about your future, not your pride. You're choosing stability over ego. That's real growth. The room nodded with him. Rich looked down, a small smile tugging at his mouth. Not prideful, just peaceful.
LT's update. After Rich sat down, the room was quiet for a moment. The kind of quiet that comes when someone has just spoken truth. LT stood next. Not rushed, not dramatic. Just steady, with a calmness that wasn't there a few weeks ago. He glanced at Heather in the back. She gave him a small nod, the kind that says, "You've got this." LT cleared his throat. "Hi everybody, I'm LT and I've had a busy couple of weeks." A few people chuckled softly. LT smiled, a real one, not the defensive smirk he used to wear. So now I go by LT, the L is for Latham, and the T is for Theodorou. My last name, it still feels strong, still feels like me, just not the me I'm trying to leave behind. So first thing, I went to that anger management class Dr. Blake recommended. He paused, letting the room settle. And it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't yelling or role-playing or any of that TV stuff. It was real. They talked about the 3 layers of anger: the body layer, the emotional layer, and the history layer. He tapped his chest lightly. And that body layer, that hit me hard. He looked at Dr. Blake, because then I had my medical appointment. Mariah's eyes softened. LT continued. Turns out I'm low on a lot of things, omega-3s, magnesium, vitamin B12 stuff. I didn't even know mattered. And the doctor said that when those things are low, it can make irritability worse, make it harder to calm down, make your reactions faster. He shook his head, still amazed. I always thought something was wrong with me, like I was just wired angry. But hearing that my body was running on empty, that explained a lot. He took a breath. I'm not saying that's why I get jealous, that part's on me. My past, my fears, my history, but the irritability, the quick reactions, the feeling like I go from 0 to 60. That's not just emotional, that's physical too. He lifted the paper Dr. Blake had given him. So now I'm on a nutrition plan, eating real meals, taking supplements, drinking water, sleeping better. And I'm not perfect, but I feel calmer, I feel clearer, I feel like I can pause before reacting. He looked at Heather again. And she's been helping me, supporting me, not babying me, just being there. Heather smiled, proud and steady. LT continued. And I'm still doing the anger management worksheets, naming what's underneath the anger. Most of the time it's fear. Fear of losing her. Fear of messing up, fear of being like the men I grew up around. He swallowed. But I'm learning and I'm doing the work and I'm proud of myself for that. He sat down. Heather reached forward and squeezed his shoulder. Rich nodded at him with respect. Beth smiled warmly. Caleb gave him a thumbs up. The room felt the shift. Not dramatic, not Hollywood, just real. Dr. Blake's response to LT. Dr. Blake leaned forward, his voice calm and clinical but full of warmth.
LT, thank you for sharing that what you've done these past weeks is significant. You didn't just look at your behavior. You looked at your biology, your history, and your emotional patterns. That's comprehensive work. He continued, many people never learn that irritability can be connected to physical depletion. You took that information seriously, you made changes, and you're already seeing the benefits. LT nodded, listening closely. And I want to highlight something important. Dr. Blake added, you didn't blame your biology, you didn't use it as an excuse, you used it as information, a tool to support your emotional work. That's maturity. Heather smiled proudly. Dr. Blake finished. You're not just reacting anymore, you're responding, and that difference is what will carry you forward. LT exhaled, shoulders relaxing.
Caleb's final reveal. After LT sat down, the room felt warm, the kind of warmth that comes from watching people do the hard work of changing their lives. Dr. Blake glanced around. Who would like to go next? Caleb stood, not shy, not hesitant, just steady, a young man who finally knew who he was. Henry straightened in his chair, already proud, already emotional, though he didn't know what was coming. Caleb cleared his throat. Hi everyone. This is my last session before my dad and I head home. We were only here for the holidays, and my dad is on vacation leave. I just want to say thank you. He looked around the room, at Rich, at LT, at Beth, at Earl, at Dr. Blake. You all made me feel welcome, you made me feel normal, and that meant a lot. The quiet hush settled, something was building, so I have some news. Henry blinked, confused but attentive. I've been working really hard in school, I've been in speech therapy, I've been keeping up with my meetings, and I took my SATs. He paused. My scores were really high, higher than I expected. The room leaned in. And there's something else I want to share, Caleb said, voice steady. I've been reading a lot about speech therapy, and there's this one speech-language pathologist I look up to. Dr. Rowan Hale. He had a stutter growing up, a bad one, worse than mine ever was, and he still became one of the best in the field. The room softened, listening. He said something once that stuck with me. Your voice doesn't have to be perfect to matter. And when I read that, it made me feel like maybe I could do this too. Maybe I could help kids the way people helped me. Henry swallowed hard, pretending to adjust his sleeve. Earl whispered, that boy gonna make me cry in public. The room laughed softly. Caleb smiled, not shy, not shrinking, but proud. And because of all that, I got a full scholarship, full tuition, everything paid for. Beth gasped. Rich raised his eyebrows. LT nodded like he'd been expecting something big. Caleb took one more breath. And I've decided what I want to do with my life. I want to become a speech-language pathologist. I want to help kids who struggle the way I did. I want to give them the same chance I had. He turned to his father. And Dad, thank you. You never treated me like I was fragile. You never babied me. You treated me like a normal kid. You made me responsible. You made me strong. And I'm grateful for that. Henry's eyes filled instantly. He looked down, rubbing at nothing. Earl leaned over with a grin. I see those allergies are contagious. The room laughed, soft, warm, knowing. Caleb exhaled, relieved. I'm excited and nervous, but I'm ready. And I just wanted to share that with all of you. He sat down. Henry reached over and squeezed his son's shoulder, firm, proud, wordless. Dr. Blake's response. Dr. Blake's voice was gentle. Caleb, thank you for sharing that. What you've accomplished is extraordinary.
not because of the scholarship, but because of the work you put in to earn it. You faced challenges, you stayed committed, and you found your purpose. He nodded toward Henry. And Henry, your support, your consistency, your expectations, they mattered. You helped shape a young man who believes in himself. Henry swallowed again, eyes still wet. Dr. Blake finished. Taylor, you're stepping into a future you earned, and we're all proud of you. The room nodded. Every single person.
Session closing. Dr. Blake looked around the room, hands clasped. "Before I close us out," he said, "if any of you have forms that need my signature to confirm you've completed this course, just bring them to me at the end, and I'll sign them." He paused, then added with his usual calm authority, "And for those of you who have permission to attend my next series, the topic will be..." He launched into a long, elegant string of clinical terminology, full of letters and syllables that only he could pronounce smoothly. A comprehensive exploration of HSV-related psychosocial adjustment and post-diagnostic identity restructuring. The room blinked. Earl scratched his head. Henry smirked. Dr. Blake smiled gently. This session is officially closed. The room begins to empty. Chairs scraped softly, people stood, stretching, gathering coats and bags. The energy was warm, buzzing, the kind of buzz that comes after breakthroughs. A small crowd formed around Caleb. Beth hugged him. Ray clapped him on the back. Heather told him she was proud. Even people who barely knew him wanted to congratulate him before he left town. Across the room, others drifted toward LT, offering encouragement, teasing him about moving to a new neighborhood, telling him to keep doing right by Heather. A few men walked over to Rich, not to judge him, but to admire him. "Man, you're doing good," one said. "You're gonna get off parole, I can see it." Another added, "You're growing, keep going." Rich nodded, humbled. As the room began to stir, people didn't just drift toward Caleb and LT. Several made their way straight to Beth. Her mother hugged her first, whispering something only a proud mother could say. Then Peggy wrapped her in a warm auntie-style embrace. "You did that, sweetheart," Peggy said. "You earned every bit of this." Heather stepped in next, squeezing Beth's hands. "I'm so happy for you. Your daughter's lucky to have a mama who fights like you do." Even Rich paused on his way to the door, giving her a nod of respect. "Proud of you, Beth. That's real work you did." LT added, "For real, that's big, keep going." Beth glowed, not overwhelmed, not embarrassed, just quietly proud. She wasn't the loudest story in the room, but she was one of the most powerful, and everyone knew it. One by one, people walked toward the door, pausing to shake Dr. Blake's hand. "Thank you, Dr. Blake." "Appreciate you, Doc." "See you next time." Rich form and a little matchmaking. Rich lingered near the front, waiting until the line thinned. When it was his turn, he handed Dr. Blake his form. Dr. Blake smiled warmly. "Congratulations, Rich. Let me get this filled out for you." He sat down at the desk and began writing. As Rich waited, LT walked by with Heather on his arm. "Rich," LT said, "this is my girl, Heather." Heather smiled.
Nice to finally meet you, LT talks about you all the time. Rich grinned, nice to meet you too. Heather leaned in just a little, playful. I have a friend who wants to meet you. Rich blinked, then laughed. LT gave him a wink. Rich winked back, the unspoken bro code alive and well. Dr. Blake caught the exchange from the corner of his eye and smiled to himself. It was good to see Rich being welcomed into something normal, something hopeful. The room empty, but 3 remain. Soon the room was nearly empty. Peggy was out in the hallway chatting with a group of women. Caleb was surrounded by people wanting one last conversation before he left town. The night staff waited politely outside with mops and carts inside. Only 3 remained. Henry, Earl, Dr. Blake. Henry looked around at the chairs. You want me to help put these back? Dr. Blake shook his head. Thank you, Henry, but the night staff will take care of it. They're gonna mop and sweep, and I think they're updating our desks soon. Henry nodded.
My new name is Rich, but people still whisper that's felony from back in the day. Need a laptop, TV, jewelry. Old felony can hook you up. I'm walking everywhere, 'cause parole said I can't drive yet. Feet hitting pavement like a second heartbeat. Rain hitting my jacket like it's keeping score. Try showing up to a job interview soaked and still trying to look like hope. Try explaining to a landlord why the word felon don't fit me no more. I'm clean, I'm working, I'm trying, but my past walks in the door before I do. My sentence ended, but the world still act like it didn't.
My new name is Latham,
but people still say
beware of him, ladies.
That's TRO.
He collects restraining orders like baseball cards.
My stigma ain't loud,
it's quiet loud.
It's the kind that sits in the corner,
judges me before I even speak.
I had restraining orders years ago. I did the work, I changed,
but the paperwork don't update itself.
And here's the part nobody sees.
I
can't even open a bank account.
No.
With my history, so I'm paying fees just to touch my own money. Try rebuilding your life when every dollar you earn gets taxed by your past. My sentence ended, but the whispers didn't.
My new name is Elizabeth Rose, but people still say, oh, her.
That's why
pay her enough,
and she'll move thousands without raising a red flag. Stigma sticks to my name. People here swipe and think thief,
think liar, think danger.
I'm not that girl anymore.
I'm not stealing, I'm not running, I'm not living in chaos.
Try telling that to landlord.
Try telling that to a job.
Try telling that to someone.
You wanna build a life with 'cause of my record? I had to settle for housing in a neighborhood I don't feel safe in as a woman.
That scares me. I walk with my keys between my fingers.
I double lock my door.
Oh.
I sleep light. My sentence ended, but the fear didn't.
My name has always been Caleb,
but people still say,
oh, him.
He was a lookout,
boy.
The decoy, nerdy enough to blend in,
no,
sneaky enough to help us get away. Or maybe he was the one
tipping off the cops.
My stigma is different.
I'm on probation,
which means I'm free, but not free enough.
Can't volunteer, can't work with kids, can't step in certain buildings
without permission.
People think I'm fragile, or privileged, or protected, or pretending. But stigma don't care who your father is.
Stigma don't care how hard you're trying.
Stigma don't care how much you've grown. My sentence ended, but the judgment didn't.
But the stigma didn't. And still, we're walking forward anyway. We're speaking up anyway. We're changing our names, changing our stories, changing our futures anyway.
Re-entry should not be a life sentence. Re-entry should not be a life sentence. Re-entry should not be